Japan just drew 2-2 with the Netherlands at the 2026 World Cup. Kamada scores in the 88th minute. Nakamura with the equalizer at 57. And I'm watching this and something keeps nagging at me because I've seen this before. I've seen Isagi score the late dramatic goal in the moment that defined everything. I've seen a left-sided striker cut in from the wing and change the game in an instant. The more I watch this Japan squad, the more I think whoever wrote Blue Lock was either a prophet, or they accidentally created the most structurally accurate prediction of where Japanese football was heading. 13 Blue Lock players. 13 real Japan 2026 World Cup players. Here's the breakdown. Quick framing. Blue Lock is a 2022 8-bit anime on Netflix. The premise: the Japan Football Union locks 300 strikers in a facility and runs elimination rounds, because the theory is Japan has never won the World Cup for lack of a world-class ego-driven striker. The top graduates form the Blue Lock 11 for a showcase match against Japan's U20 national team. That's the arc we're pulling from. Now here's what I want to flag before we start. The entire series is built around forward players. Everyone in Blue Lock is a striker by nature. Which means when I map these 13 onto Japan's real 2026 squad, something interesting happens at the defensive end. We'll get to that. Pair 1. Isagi Yoichi meets Kamada Daichi. Isagi is the narrative center of Blue Lock and his weapon is Metavision, the ability to read the entire field as a spatial equation in real time. In the U20 match arc, he's not the fastest or the strongest. He identifies the gap that will open 2 seconds from now, positions there before it exists, and fires a direct shot the moment the ball arrives. His goals look like geometry, not athleticism. Kamada Daichi is Crystal Palace's midfield conductor. He reads the half space between the lines before the ball arrives, receives on the half turn, and releases a through pass or drive with weight that splits defenses. He won the Europa Conference League with Eintracht Frankfurt. Then against the Netherlands in Dallas on June 14, Kamada hits a strike that draws Japan level in the 88th minute. A direct shot. Late in a must-not-lose moment. The fictional protagonist and the real player have converged on exactly the same type of moment. Why they match? Both operate by reading space before it opens, not by outpacing or outmuscling. Both exist in between-the-lines roles without obvious positional names. Isagi is technically a striker who plays like a shadow midfielder. Kamada is a central midfielder who scores striker goals. And both deliver something geometrically precise in the match's final minutes. This is the most structurally clean pairing in the whole list. The thesis is identical. Pair 2. Itoshi Rin meets Doan Ritsu. Rin is Blue Lock's #1 ranked player. His weapons are kick accuracy the series describes as essentially perfect, all-round ability that leaves no obvious weakness, and a flow state that briefly makes him unguardable. His ego is explicitly framed as a weapon. The series positions his mental disposition as the defining gap between him and the players ranked below him. Doan Ritsu put up 5 goals and 5 assists at Eintracht Frankfurt. He has the shoot sense to score from positions that seem physically awkward. After Endo withdrew from the squad and announced his international retirement, Doan stepped into the game captain role. He's carrying that burden with the composure of someone who decided a long time ago that pressure was the point. Accuracy, all-round capability, ego, composure, same player, different dimension. Pair 3. Nagi Seishiro meets Kubo Fusa. Nagi barely played football before Blue Lock. He arrives with zero tactical formation but an off-the-charts touch. The zero-gravity trap ball stops dead at his feet with no apparent explanation. The backtrap, controlling a pass with his shoulder blade. The series frames him as proof that natural spatial intuition can compress years of technical development. Kubo Fusa at Real Sociedad is the most technically gifted player Japan has produced in a generation. In narrow spaces where most players lose the ball, Kubo finds an extra half-second through first contact quality. Left foot precision that looks calibrated, not kicked. He produced a man-of-the-match performance returning from injury. Both players feel like they are processing the same pitch through a different perceptual system. Pair 4. The headliner. Bachira Meguru meets Mitoma Ka-Oru. Bachira is the heart of the Blue Lock 11 in terms of unpredictability. His dribbling is explicitly instinct, not calculation. He reads defenders the way an animal reads threat and adjusts in microseconds. The anime uses the word monster. Not metaphorically. His moveset is not chartable by opponents in real time because there is no plan to intercept, he just goes. Mitoma Ka-Oru is one of the best 1 versus 1 players on the planet. Left side supremacy, the deceleration-acceleration cycle that makes markers stumble, the way he compresses space in a way that shouldn't work given his physical frame. This is Bachira in a real football body. And then this tournament happened. Hamstring surgery. Mitoma is not in Dallas. Not in the squad. The player who most precisely matches Bachira's instinct dribble profile is watching from outside. The monster slot is empty, and the absence is structural to how Japan plays. Pair 5. Chigiri Hyoma meets Maeda Daizen. This is the pace pairing. Chigiri's number is 50 meters in 5.77 seconds. The series makes a point of establishing that his dribbling doesn't decelerate the way most players do at top speed. His story involves a rebuilt knee, and the moment he commits to running at full speed again is one of Blue Lock's emotional peaks. Maeda Daizen won Celtics League MVP on exactly the same qualities: sprint capacity that wears defenders down, off-the-shoulder runs behind the last man, a high-press engine that never switches off. He plays Japan's lone striker role in the 3-4-2-1 at this tournament. Relentless in the specific way Chigiri is relentless, not showboating, just perpetual forward motion that becomes demoralizing to defend. These two are the same player reimagined in different registers of fiction and reality. Pair 6. Barou Shoei meets Ueda Ayase. Barou is the King Ego striker. Power forward charging, precision curve from 27 to 29 meters, and an absolute refusal to defer that the series frames as both strength and flaw. He will score off his ego because his ego leaves him no other option. Ueda Ayase scored 25 goals in the Eredivisie this season. Box striker, physical presence, composure over creativity. Against the Netherlands he was man-marked and neutralized for most of the match. A chapter Barou's fictional arc runs through two, the moment where ego-forward style meets a specific counterplan. Then against Tunisia, with no such plan to contain him, he scored twice, including a header the box striker's answer once the counter is gone. The pattern is structurally identical. Pair 7. Yukimiya Kenya meets Ito Junya. Yukimiya's weapon is Emperor style, one-on-one domination through a power-speed combination the anime presents as a distinct technical category, finished with a Euro shot that curves late. Ito Junya's game at Genk and for Japan is right side burst. He wins the first 3 meters and the defensive decision becomes unavoidable. He comes off the bench in this tournament and changes the game's texture the moment he enters. That specific quality concentrated impact in a defined window matches Yukimiya's Blue Lock profile exactly. Pair 8. Shidou Risei meets Minamino Takumi. Shidou is Blue Lock's wildest player. Instinct pure, he scores from body positions that look physically impossible because he doesn't evaluate the attempt first, he just executes. He's the anti-intellectual striker. Minamino in the shadow striker role has the same quality. He reads space invasively and finishes from the movement, not the setup. Now Minamino is not at this World Cup. Left ACL rupture. He's attending as support staff. A player at the level of Shidou's instinct category, watching from the sideline. Pair 9. Karasu Tabito meets Endo Wataru. Karasu is the most cerebral player in the Blue Lock 11. His weapon is weakness analysis. He reads opponents, maps their patterns, and exploits the gap with surgical precision. Ball retention is the best in the facility. Endo Wataru was the Premier League's most effective dueling midfielder during his Liverpool tenure. His game is built on information, know where the ball is going, be there first, control the exchange. He was Japan's captain for years. And he is not here. Injury, withdrawal, and then the retirement announcement. Karasu's fictional archetype, the player who controls the flow from the center, has retired from real life. Pair 10. Otoya Eita meets Nakamura Kato. Otoya is Blue Lock's rank number 4. His weapon is combination destruction, breaking defensive partnerships through movement chains that disrupt structure before the ball arrives. Nakamura Kato at lens builds his value from the left wingback channel. He cuts in at a moment that collapses the opposing shape. Against the Netherlands, he scored in the 57th minute, cut in from the left, drew the goalkeeper, converted. That is an Otoya goal in structure, high mobility, combination breaking entry, finished before the defense reassembles. Pair 11. Gagamaru meets Suzuki Zion. Gagamaru in Blue Lock is 191 centimeters, and his defining trait is that he thinks like a striker. He reads attacking intentions because he was developed as an attacker. Suzuki Zion is 194 centimeters, Japan's Serie A first-choice goalkeeper. His value beyond shot stopping is foot build-up quality. He reads how attackers will press him because he has the technical profile to engage rather than avoid it. The sizing, the physical dominance, the attacker consciousness in the goalkeeper role, same player, different dimension. Pair 12. Aryu meets Taniguchi Shogo. Aryu is 195 centimeters. His Blue Lock role is aerial control and ball recovery, jersey number 2. Taniguchi Shogo captains his Belgian club. He came back from an Achilles tendon injury to reclaim his position, and his value in Japan's 3-back system is individual dueling plus the vocal leadership that organizes players around him. Physical match is unusually close, large center back, aerial dominance, ball recovery, and both carry a leadership function that makes them larger than their positional description. Pair 13. Niko meets Ito Hiroki. Niko occupies the shadow vision role, wide field reading from a position that technically isn't striker but enables the system. His metavision is in progress awakening, not complete, which makes him the least dominant Blue Lock player in the 11 but arguably the most important for collective function. Ito Hiroki at Bayern Munich plays the left position of a 3-back. Precise left foot distribution, full field reading from the back line as a build-up initiator. 188 centimeters. Both are players whose weapon is field vision deployed from a role outside the center of attention, enabling the players in front. Okay. Something came up while I was mapping this that is worth flagging explicitly. Japan's 2026 squad runs a 3-4-2-1. The Netherlands match involved 3 center-backs and 2 wing-backs operating as defensive units: Watanabe Go, Ito Hiroki, Taniguchi Shogo in the backline, Sanogakuto as a defensive midfielder anchor. A real team with real defensive architecture. Now go back to Blue Lock. Blue Lock has no pure defenders. This is not a story accident, it's the premise. The facility was built to produce strikers. Every player who enters is a forward. The Blue Lock 11 assembles players who were all developed through an attacker's lens. Aryu occupies the CB role through physical dominance developed in an attacking context. Niko fills the build-up role but came from forward development. There is no Blue Lock character developed as a defensive specialist, no holding midfielder, no tactical stopper, no player whose value is built on the systematic denial of space rather than the creation of it. Japan's real defensive players for this tournament: Watanabe Go at Feyenoord building from the back, Sanogakuto at Mainz doing the unglamorous ball recovery work, Sugawara Yukinari at Bremen running the right wing-back lane. There are no Blue Lock equivalents for them. The analogy just stops. This is the structural discovery at the core of this whole exercise. When you map Blue Lock onto Japan 2026, you can do it cleanly for every attacking player and the goalkeeper. But the defensive architecture of the real team has no anime counterpart. Blue Lock chose not to train defenders. The real Japan squad built an entire defensive system anyway. And they drew the Netherlands. Maybe both philosophies are right in different registers. Here's what this mapping actually says. Blue Lock argued, Japan needs ego, Japan needs individual excellence, Japan needs players who believe finishing is a personal act. Then look at Japan 2026. Kamada scoring in the 88th minute off pure individual initiative. Nakamura cutting in and deciding a goal on his own line of thought. Kubo doing something in a tight space no one else in the squad can do. These are ego goals. These are exactly the goals Blue Lock said Japan needed to score. The series was right about the attacking philosophy. It just didn't account for the defensive system Japan built around that philosophy. Then there are the absences. Mitoma, Minamino, Endo. 3 players who in an alternate timeline are at this World Cup, each mapping cleanly to a specific Blue Lock archetype. Mitoma is Bachira, the monster dribbler, and he's not here. Minamino is Shidou, the instinct finisher watching from the bench's support staff. Endo is Karasu, the information processing controller, who holds the structure, and he retired. In Blue Lock the story can rewrite itself. Players come back. Stakes escalate. Real football doesn't do that. These absences are permanent within the context of this tournament. Japan is in Group F. They drew the Netherlands 2-2 with that dramatic late Kamada equalizer, and then they dismantled Tunisia 4-0. Watch who scored. Kamada opened it in the 4th minute. Ueda Aya say the striker the Dutch had man-marked into silence got the second around the half-hour. Ito Junya made it 3 in the 69th. And Ueda headed in the 4th to complete his brace. The exact players this video maps onto Blue Lock are the ones who put Japan top of the group, level with the Netherlands on 4 points, the largest margin any Asian side has ever won by at a World Cup. Whether that's enough to go deep depends on whether the Blue Lock question gets answered for real. Can ego-driven individual attacking production, supported by a constructed defensive system, win a World Cup? We're finding out in real time. Quick recap of all 13. Isagi equals Kamada, Metavision, and the late decisive strike. Rin equals Doan, top-ranked accuracy and the captain's burden. Nagi equals Kubo, transcendent first touch in narrow space. Bachira equals Mitoma, absent, the instinctive dribble engine the squad is missing. Chigiri equals Maeda, relentless pace is identity. Barou equals Ueda, box striker whose ego defines his output. Yukimiya equals Ito Junya, isolation power with concentrated bench impact. Shidou equals Minamino, also absent, instinct finishing from impossible positions. Karasu equals Endo, retired, field intelligence holding the structure together. Otoya equals Nakamura, high mobility cutting goal at the critical moment. Gagamaru equals Suzuki, large goalkeeper who thinks from a forwards frame. Aryu equals Taniguchi, aerial dominant center-back who leads from the spine. Niko equals Ito Hiroki, deep field vision enabling the structure from outside the spotlight. Here's what I keep coming back to. Blue Lock is not a prediction document. Miyuki Kane Shiro and Yusuke Nakamura wrote a manga about individual ego and striker development, and they built characters from real footballing archetypes because those archetypes are real. Japan 2026 happened to field a squad that overlaps with those archetypes almost completely in the attacking positions, because both the manga and the real squad were answering the same question. What does Japan need to look like to compete at a World Cup? 13 times, they came up with the same answer. If you got through all of this, comment below with which pairing you think is the strongest match. I'm genuinely curious whether the Isagi Kamada thesis holds up for people who have watched Blue Lock more carefully than I have, or whether someone else in the 11 reads as a tighter analog. I'm Sophie from Triple Threat Manga. Japan vs Tunisia is next. Subscribe if you want the breakdown when it happens, long-form deep dives every week. See you in the next one.